everybody. You heard me right. I said hey everybody because I'm talking to you right now. This is the Soulscast. This is a very special episode. I saw something last night that I have subsequently downloaded and tried today that I thought was so strange and so weird, and you could even call it bizarre and out of character for the Souls series. And I thought I had to just make a little episode, like a mini episode. The episodes are kind of small anyway. Usually the Soulscast, 30 minutes, sometimes 40, sometimes 53. But this one's going to be a good 10, 12, something like that. I'm not going to do my normal introductions, any of that garbage. I'm just going to talk. So let's call this episode 5.5, because it's not yet episode 6, which a normal full-length episode 6 will be released. I'm not even going to say Tuesday. Let's shoot for Thursday, this upcoming week. So don't you worry. I already have some notes planned for that. So this is episode 5.5, and I'm talking about Slashy Souls. And if that is something you've never heard of, don't feel too bad. I had never heard of it until just last night, which was Saturday night. It's now Sunday night. I saw an article on IGN about Bandai Bandai, however those two words go together. They were going to release something for Android and iOS called Slashy Souls. Slashy is in Slashy. And it was a mobile game, a Souls-like mobile game, basically. So I thought that sounded pretty interesting, and for me, completely out of the blue. Like, has anyone else heard of this before? Where the hell did this come from? So naturally, I got a little excited, but I mean, not really that excited because it's a mobile game. In general, I really don't like mobile games. I think they're, on the whole, they're just not much fun. I typically find they're of poor quality, and any of the really good ones that are better quality usually cost money, and I'm not paying money for a stupid ass game I play on my phone. So, but this is Souls, so obviously we're a lot different. So it came out today. I downloaded it this morning. It's free, so that's good. So if nothing else, you can download it and try it. It's called Slashy Souls. It's a 2D runner, I guess they're called, where you're a character constantly running and you can't stop, and then you just have to get as far as you can, and it keeps count, like a score, like every step you take is a point or something, and then you can collect things and get more points, and maybe killing the enemies gets you points, and then when you die, you see how far you've gone, and then you can try to beat that high score, or you can compare it to other people's. So it's a game like that, but it's very Souls-like, and it's very obviously Souls-like, and it's made by Bandai Namco. That's hard to say. And it's sponsored by GameStop, which is really strange. The whole game, I'm going to turn it on real quick so I can kind of talk about it too. Presented by GameStop is what it says. It's essentially like a Dark Souls 3 advertisement, because once the game loads up, right at the very top, I'll even take a screenshot so I can add this to the video. Whoops. Right at the very top. Okay, I just closed out of it. It says pre-order Dark Souls 3 at GameStop. So it's very odd. Especially for the Souls series, which is not really known for big ad campaigns. I mean, it's a full game. I don't know how full the game is, but I'm going to explain it a little bit. You start as a character, and I think there's maybe 3 different characters, and there's nothing different about them besides their appearance, but one of them is clearly the knight that's on the front of the Dark Souls 2 case. He has like the kind of fur-lined coat, and he has the helmet. It's clearly him. So you start and you run right. The game makes you run, so there's no controls. Well, there's no directionals. You can tap the screen to swing your weapon, which you start with like a big broadsword that you use with 2 hands. If you swipe up, you jump, and if you swipe to the side, you roll either left or right. So, kind of like Soul stuff. And there are enemies in your way that you have to kill. They usually take 1 or 2 hits. And so far, I've only seen some skeletons, some slightly bigger, like probably hollow soldiers, some like weird flying dragons, and that might be it. I'm not very good at the game, so I haven't got very far. And you can kill these guys by tapping the screen and swiping your sword. You can find some other weapons. I've seen an axe, and then a flaming sword, which is awesome because it kills everything basically in 1 hit, but they're usually hard to get. So you can find different weapons. You can collect things that increase your score. You can collect at least 2 different spells I've seen, like maybe a protective spell and then like a fireball that you can shoot out. So still pretty on par with Souls magic. You can get what look like Estus flasks to replenish your health, which you don't have any kind of on-screen health indicator, at least that I've seen. The screen just gets redder and redder, as games kind of do. And then after you've taken a certain amount of hits, it's usually, I don't know, 5, 6 hits maybe, then you die. And when you die, it says you died on the screen, much like Souls. And I should say the graphics are kind of like a 16-bit, which I think it looks pretty cool actually. I like it. So that's everything you can collect as far as I've seen. Again, I haven't made it far. I'm sure there's more stuff. But you run to the right, kill enemies, jump over traps, like spike pits, spinning saws, giant spinning maces, almost stuff that you would see in like maybe a castle level of a Mario game. But it's also akin to Sen's Fortress with all the traps there, because there's the swinging blades in that one, and there's like the dart traps and that kind of stuff. So you jump over traps or roll past them, you kill enemies, you collect stuff, and you just see how far you can get. Now, I'm sure there's a million games like this on the App Store. It's available for Android and for iOS, which is also good because I have an Android. And again, what makes this one different is the fact that it's Souls. It's not, I don't think it's canonical. It's not like a canon game. I don't think it has any story at all. And it's not a legit Souls game, but I mean, it's made by the same guys, and it looks like a Souls game with the look of it and some of the enemies. The you died thing, the Estus flasks, the weapons. You can fight, I guess they're bosses. And I think they just kind of pop up at random. And that's another thing. The game seems to be pretty random with like where you start in the levels. The level layouts aren't random because I've been through the same parts a bunch of times, but you can start in one area on your first playthrough, die, and then start in that same area again. But once you get a certain way in, it diverges into a different area. There's like a cave area, there's an outdoor area. That's all I've seen. But at one point, you fight a boss, and it's Gravelord Nito. It's basically Gravelord Nito. It's like a big black, it's like a bunch of skeletons with like a black cloak kind of thing around them, and they swing a sword. So I guess it's a boss because it takes a lot of hits to kill, and it can kill you pretty fast. So that's cool. I like seeing that. The only other big Souls thing I've seen, besides just the general aesthetic, was the metal boars that are from the original Dark Souls, that are in the Undead Parish, and then randomly just in the Duke's Archives. Those show up as well, and they're gigantic. So I'm guessing that's also a boss. I don't know what other kind of bosses and other specific enemies from the Souls games there are, and that's the only reason I want to really keep playing it, because this game needs some work. It's free, which is good. So, worst case scenario, you just delete it. But the controls are not good. And how can controls for a game like this be not good? Well, you need to swipe up on the screen to jump. And oftentimes I would find that I would swipe up on the screen, and he wouldn't jump, he would swing his sword. So it can be tough to jump over traps or jump over holes to access various items. So that's a pretty big deal, because that's a fairly integral part of the game, jumping, and they messed it up. The rolling is okay, I guess. I very rarely use it. And then it'll just glitch out and crash too. I've died, and then you can restart after dying, and the restart time is pretty fast. Certainly faster than Bloodborne, that's for sure. But you can restart, and then I've seen it where I restart and the "you died" is still on the screen, obscuring my vision, so I can't see anything. So I have to pause the game and restart it from there. And then I've also seen where I died, and then the entire phone screen just went like pinkish purple or maybe magenta, and it just stayed there, and I had to like exit out of the game completely. So it's pretty glitchy. It's got crappy controls. It has badges, which I assume are like achievements or trophies you can get. There's an online leaderboard, and you can, if you get far, you can see how far you get. Yeah, it's basically I'm playing it right now. I'm not going to actually play it, but every step you basically get a point, and then for killing enemies you get points. For collecting things you get points, and then when you die, the "you died" thing comes up, and it looks pretty cool. I like that aspect. And then it shows you your score, and then you can restart, look at the leaderboard. My high score currently is 9,564. The leaderboard, the person in first, I think when I looked last, has 38,000, so I'm a little ways off of the leaderboard. Why did they release this? Why did they make this? It's so very strange. I mean, it's kind of cool because it's like playing Souls on your phone, but it really isn't like playing Souls on your phone at all. If they had tweaked this and made it an actual side-scroller, like a Super Nintendo side-scroller, where you can control the game, you can control your character with, directional buttons, and made it something like that, I think it would have worked a lot better. A button to jump, buttons to move, as opposed to the swiping garbage, because swiping is just no good. It sucks. So, I mean, they made it to promote Dark Souls 3, because on the Game Over screen on the bottom, it also says pre-order Dark Souls 3 at GameStop. And just for such a niche series of games that is touted as being hardcore and the casual player can't get into because they're so hard, it's very curious that they would make a game like this. Souls is getting big. People, I mean, if we look at what Demon Souls was when it first was released to now, it's pretty different as far as just the marketing and the fact that people just know it in the general conscious. It's still pretty niche. We're not looking at Call of Duty or Battlefield or Assassin's Creed or anything like that, but who knows what the future is going to bring. So I don't think this is a bad thing, besides the fact that the game kind of sucks. If anything, it's still getting me pretty excited for Dark Souls 3, which I'm very, very excited for. And then, I don't know, I think that's all I can say. It's a pretty simple game. I don't know, like I said, the only reason I really would want to keep playing it at this point, because I played it for a combined probably 20 minutes. And the only reason I want to keep playing it is to see what other Dark Souls enemies and maybe weapons or something I can see, because having them rendered in this, I guess, 16-bit graphics, it's really cool looking. So I wish the game was a little easier to explore in that aspect. But we don't need a 2D side-scrolling Souls game. I mean, isn't that called Salt and Sanctuary? Isn't that coming out pretty soon? I think that's basically everything I wanted to say. I wanted to get a quick episode out. I'm going to have this released tonight. I'm going to work on it right now, basically, and have it released tonight, Sunday, and I'll post links and all that. I'm going to put it on YouTube. It's not going to have a video like my other ones. It'll either have one still image, or I might rotate through a couple pictures that I'm going to take on my phone just to show a few various things. But it's not going to be anything fancy. This is strictly just to listen. But it'll be up. Well, if you're listening to this, it's already up. But expect episode 6 of the Soulscast coming, like I said, hopefully Thursday. Maybe earlier, but by Thursday. I'll record it probably, well, I don't even know when I'm going to record it. But just get ready for that. I think we're done here. So everyone have a great work week. Have a great night. And, yeah, see you later.